So week 2 of the NFL is in the books, and for those of you guys who are lucky enough to live in a city that has a good sports team, you don't really have much to worry about. For the rest of us who have the losers like the Jets and the Giants, the only way to make football exciting for us is throw a couple of bucks on the game, and that's where today's video sponsor, MyBookie, comes in. The NFL has returned, and that means action-packed Sundays and huge cash prizes. Get in on the action. Use promo code ROB and double your first deposit. New players get up to $1,000 in free play, designed to add more excitement to the sports you love and the games you bet. So sports gamblers out there, now is your chance. If you haven't already signed up, visit MyBookie. There's a link right below in the description. Use promo code ROB. It will double your first deposit up to $1,000. It's a lot of free change right there to start your season on the right foot, unlike the Jets, who suck, and they're 0-2. All right, Rob Ferretti here, and you notice in the background of my videos, other than the new flags up there, you'll see some revolving cars in the background, like that Bumblebee Camaro over there, and there's a Viper that's always here. You got this LP640 now as a new addition, and the Galaxy up there. So we also do car storage here. So we rent out spots to people, it's like sort of like what Matt Farah does, but on a much lower scale and a much cheaper price point, because this warehouse is not Matt Farah's epic garage. But if you want to store cars here, we're at $250 a month, and we get some interesting cars. Now, this guy dropped his car off and said, hey, do you mind helping me sell it? And I'm like, sure, let me take a look. What do you want for it? And he's like, I don't know what it's worth. And I looked, and I was like, this is a tough one. This car, and I don't want to say it's had a rough life, but it's definitely had a rough couple of years. And I'm going to show you everything that's wrong with it, and I'm going to tell you what it should cost you to fix it, and what it ultimately I think it's worth. And if you want to make them an offer, knock yourself out. But this one, I don't know if it's going to start because I had to jump the battery the other day. But this car here, you'll see some interesting things, like this bungee cord here, which, yeah. So like, that's custom, right? If you just start looking around the body, let's start with this. So you got damage here. That means he opened it up into something. You'll see the same here, right? This is just semi-carelessness. Let's walk around and you'll see other body damage, which is probably the front bumper, but like, oh, we'll get to that. Let's see here. So you have the front bumper, yes. Now, any car wholesaler, anyone like this, is going to look at this front bumper and panic. They're going to think, oh my God, that's a $30,000, but whatever, $20,000 bumper. It's not as bad as it looks. That is repairable. And if you make your way around here, you probably see some side skirt damage, if I were to guess. Yeah, so the side skirt too. Damaged here, damaged there. Let's check the rear bumper. All right, the rear is actually okay. Oh, no, wait, it's not. The rear bumper, it has been backed into something. Now, all of these pieces, just those 3 pieces alone, the side skirt, the rear bumper, and the front bumper, are expensive. And when I say expensive, like, you don't even want to know. Like, if you went to a dealer, they'd be like, oh yeah, that's $20,000, $30,000. Okay, that's like $65,000 to repair. Come on, you can do it much cheaper than that. Let's see what else is wrong, and then we'll get into. If you didn't notice going around, see there? That is a leak. That's probably a cooler or something leaking from right behind this fender. But that allows you to notice that the side skirt isn't damaged. Let's pop this. Now, the engine obviously looks good. Doesn't look like there was ever a fire here, which you'd be surprised how common that happens. But you look here, and this is an LP640. So it's already ahead of the game. It's better. It's one of the best V12 Lambos you can get as far as drivability goes. These he's probably got stuck up. That's normal. The top obviously is garbage. See, this top is garbage to begin with. And that's why he's got the bungee cords to hold it down, but that probably doesn't sound too awesome as we go. And I don't know what this I don't know. You work your way into here, and the seats leave a little bit to be desired, right? So if you can take a look here. Now, this you might say, like, wow, that's rough, right? And this here, even the key is broken off. Let's see the other side. The windshield's good, yeah. That'll buff out. Got some chips here. Another bungee cord. Yeah, see this seat too? It's got a hole in it. Now, I'm not going to say this is neglect, but this is just a lack of basic staying on top of the car. This is a guy that just enjoyed the car, and I know the guy. Just enjoyed the car and never really got around to little stuff. He just like, I'm not going to lie, that's probably some stripper's heel that went through the seat. So this guy did all the Lamborghini things Lamborghini owners do. And one of those things is not to spend money to upkeep the car as much as you should. Now, let's just say for kicks, right? Obviously, it needs a battery. We went over that. But let's say for kicks, you do a full service. You fix whatever that leak is. You do a full service, and you're out the door at $6,000 for that. Let's not worry about the clutch. I don't know if it needs a clutch, doesn't need a clutch, but let's just assume it doesn't. Just the body work, I would say, can be done for, I'm going to say $6,000. That's cleaning up the current things on the car, because it's not, none of it's missing pieces or anything like that. So $6,000 is a conservative estimate to get a good shop to make this thing look Lamborghini factory correct again. If you want to do the cheap route, you could probably get it done for like $2,500. I'd spend the extra money and get it done by a good shop. The top, you almost have to write the top off because it sucks. And then that, when I say that, it also includes all these little things like this stuff will get cleaned up. Even here, I don't know how to refinish this. This looks like he almost had a sticker here and took off all the finish. The seats, I would say budget $6,000, probably $3,000 a piece to redo those seats. So that's $12,000. The top, you could probably get an aftermarket top, even if you wanted to go this route. You could do something with the top that's not this for, just say $4,500, right? So you're at like $16,000 or $18,000 plus the service, so $20,000. I think for $20,000 that this car, like a wholesaler would do it for like $12,000 and then sell it. But I think if you bought this car and you wanted to make it right, I think $20,000 makes it right. So that's how you're going to price this car. You're going to price this car $20,000 below what it's worth, and then you're going to make it right. Maybe for your effort, maybe $25,000 below what it's worth. I would say this car is, and you know what? I got to go look that up. But I would say this car should be worth about 100, I mean, no, depending on the miles, 145, 150,000 bucks. So my gut would say that this is a $125,000 car. It's had a rough life. When I say a rough life, it just hasn't had a pampered life. Let's put it that way. I can't imagine, you can't, like the guy doesn't track it. So I'm not going to say he abused it, but he definitely didn't do the basic upkeep that some other people would do. Now, I would definitely take this opportunity to get rid of these seats. I don't like the color of these seats. I would put them back to black. As a matter of fact, you could probably score seats out of a crashed car, a pretty standard set of black seats, because the rest of the interior is black. It does have these brown floor mat things, but I would just get new floor mats anyway. But if you swap those seats to black, I mean, you're looking good in this car. And nobody's going to know that it needed this much. I'm not even, just cosmetic upkeep. So I'm putting a value on this car, just say $1.25. If you feel the same way, you let me know. I'm actually going to, before I end this video, I'm going to either end this video now and say thank you for watching. If I come back in a second, it's because I went and looked up the wholesale on the car. But if you're not familiar with the LP640s, the LP640s are probably the last of the cool V12s. The Aventador is totally a little bit too outy because it's almost too reliable. This is the best version of the Murcielago you can get. Well, this is the most beat up best version of the Murcielago you can get. And the LP640 with the carbon brakes, and it just feels much more nimble than a Murcielago. A Murcielago is fairly cumbersome, and the brakes are not good enough. When you get to this model, which has the carbon brakes, this car feels like it's 1,000 pounds lighter than a Murcielago. So if you want this in your garage, like, too bad I got the Lambo thing over there. But if you want something like this in your garage, then you're probably looking at $1.25. And it also, you can just swap the battery and drive it like this, right? It's not the end of the world to have it like this. You understand it does have the cosmetic imperfections. But if you want to get into an LP640 cheap, this is probably the one to do it. The top, you never even want to drive with the damn top on anyway, because this top sucks. And it sucks from the factory. This is just not doing himself any favors. But if you're interested in this car, just shoot me a message, rob@superspeeders.com. I'll put you in touch with the guy, and maybe you can strike a deal. Who knows? Agree? Disagree? Let me know. Rob Ferretti. See you tomorrow. So you guys are familiar with my other company, Adventure Drives, right? Well, we're going to be going to Scotland in October. We're going to be doing Scotch distilleries, playing golf at St. Andrews if you want to do that, walking around, seeing lakes, waterfalls, driving the North Coast. It's going to be an amazing trip. Prices start as low as $2,500 per person for the shorter trip in Scotland. If you're interested in going, check out the link in the description.